So they want to play these games. Yep. Trump's shutting it all down. I don't know that this ultimately disrupts the media apparatus beyond what we're already seeing, but I want to stress this. I believe there's a strong probability that as Elon Musk continues his purge, his deep dive into these institutions, we are actually going to find many of these media companies are receiving funding from the U.S. government in some way.
Yeah. Well, that's why they've named them trusted news sources. If you Google now, it takes 5 pages to see somebody that's not a trusted news source. There's a reason for that.
YouTube's the same.
Right. So there's a reason for that. And the truth is, I don't think that this whole movement that they've been promoting will continue. I really think it's going to fall apart without these media outlets that constantly put out information that isn't true. I saw Brian Stelter earlier today, unfortunately, on CNN, laughing about it. Now he's saying it's unreality. They've jumped from misinformation to unreality. And he's saying it's unreality that Politico got funding. Well, Reuters also got funding, and AP also got funding, and all the trusted sources, New York Times, Washington Post, all got funding. They shouldn't need funding if they have a good product. You didn't get money from the government.
Well, let's clarify. It is technical funding. Politico says for $13,000 a year, you can get access to our premium package. And the government goes, guess I'll buy that. Now, and I'm saying this, if I launched the timcast Trump plan and it's $10,000 or it's $15,000 a year, and then all of Trump's staff signed up for it, Democrats would call that money laundering.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. And that is what it is.
It's a transaction. What do you mean? He's just buying a service from me.
Well, this is like they name their NGOs.
You know what? You know what really grinds my gears? I deal with this all the time in business. My accountant says, if you overpay or underpay, the IRS will have questions. If you buy a building, right? Let's say you own a house and it costs you $200,000. And then you sell the house for $100,000. IRS is going to have questions. Who did you sell it to? Some guy I met. Why did you sell the house at half of what you paid for it only recently? They are not going to let you just do that because that means taxes aren't going to them, plus the property tax in the local area. How about this? You buy a house for $200,000 and then flip it for $1 million. No, let's actually play this game. What do you think would happen? Okay, a news subscription costs $20 a month, and I'm being generous and saying 20. And the government's spending $2,750 per year per person. So let's just call it 10 times. So you buy a $200,000 house, and then a few months later you sell it to someone for $2 million. There's going to be questions about who that person is buying that house. And they're going to say, is this like a foreign dignitary buying a house from a politician or something? Or why is this money transfer happening? We have already dealt with this where we've been instructed by our accountants that if exorbitant fees are paid to staff, then you run the risk of being audited because they're going to say, if the average salary for a job is X, why are you paying X times 2? You got to justify it. We should have every single one of these government staffing, these agencies and departments justify why they're spending 100 times the average rate for a news subscription.
Yep. And I mean, I would love to see these kind of things happen. I don't know that they're actually going to, so I think that we should just cut off all the spending right off the bat. I don't imagine that you're going to be able to pin Politico or Bloomberg as having actually done anything wrong. Not that this is above board, but I just don't think that the government's going to be. I don't think it's worth the time to try and pin it on them. Just cut the money off and make sure that they don't do it again or don't continue to fund them. I think that's probably the best. I mean, I would, again, if someone has a plan to do it and can make it stick, I'm all for it. I'm not saying that I don't want these things to happen, but I think the most likely outcome is cut the money off and
I agree.
Walk away.
Give them 90 days and have them file something justifying it, like you're saying.
90 days?
That's what they want.
Give him 0. What? Trump's giving him 90 days?
He's giving some people 90 days to decide if they're going to keep certain positions.
No, I'm talking about these payments to media companies.
Yeah, they're stopped, not just for 90 days. But what is he going to do now? It's over?
This is, this story is, there's, for instance, the Department of Defense paid, I think it was the DOD, $900,000 to Politico for subscriptions. Yeah, we turn that off. We literally just say, no more subscriptions.
So most of these, does a place like Politico ask you to also donate, like a place like The Guardian, which asks you to donate?
But Politico put out a statement saying, look, these were transactions. This is normal business. And I say, shove it up your... No one is buying $1,000 a month Timcast subscriptions. That's insane.
I don't care. It doesn't matter to me if they say that it's normal or not. The government shouldn't spend the money on it.
Yeah.
It's out. It's not a responsible use of money.
Right.
So,
what about Wikipedia? Is that involved in this too?
Not that I'm aware of, but I bet if you go to usaspending.gov, you might find Wikipedia's getting a bunch of monny.
For sure.
But this is the game. That's why I called it plausible deniability. Yeah. They can feign ignorance.
Yep.
All these media outlets, because apparently, like the BBC was getting Media Action, their charity arm, was getting USAID funds. But you apparently have government employees buying subscriptions, exorbitant fees to AP, Reuters, New York Times, or whatever, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, and then they go, "We're not funding anybody. I want you to justify why you're going to spend $3,000 on this package 172 times. Why Politico is going to get $1 million a year in contracts. I believe it's been reported the total number they've received in subscriptions is $34.3 million. It's over a decade or so, but still.
it doesn't matter. It's a waste of money. And again, the people are going to say, well, in the grand scheme of things, the budget's $2 trillion a year, so this doesn't matter, and et cetera, et cetera. I don't care. I don't care because the point of this isn't as much about the money as it is about the influence and having the narrative be set by these news agencies and being basically a mouthpiece for the left.
I think we have to keep scratching down on the surface here too, because don't forget that during COVID, it came out that Bill Gates was giving a lot of money to a lot of different journals and news sources. Also, Open Society and George Soros does. And I mean, maybe there's multiple levels of money laundering going through these trusted sources, because it can't just be, I mean, we know about Bill Gates and the $300 million.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.